Hey folks, Radical Russ, your red state refugee here, and I got to take a moment to rant about the dog that finally caught the car. This caught my attention this morning, a story out of NBC News that says Republicans are trying to find a new term for pro-life to stave off more electoral losses. Oh no, you finally got what you wanted, and guess what? The American people really hate you for it. Here's from the NBC story. Republican strategists are exploring a shift away from pro-life messaging on abortion after consistent election day losses for the GOP when reproductive rights were on the ballot. At a closed-door meeting of Senate Republicans this week, the head of a super PAC closely aligned with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell presented poll results that suggested voters are reacting differently to commonly used terms like pro-life and pro-choice in the wake of last year's Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, said several senators who were in the room. And this, of course, is a futile attempt on their part. It's not the branding that's the problem. It's what you want to do to women and their bodies without their permission. Taking a look at some of the polling on this information, the pro-life support is at the lowest support this century. The green line is showing you people that consider themselves pro-choice. That's now at 55%. People who consider themselves pro-life now down to just 39%. The boomers are still pro-life at 49 to 46, and Gen X is still pro-life at 55 to 40. And personally, as a Gen X, I've got to ask my fellow Gen Xers, what the hell is wrong with you people? But as we get to the younger voters, the millennials, they are solidly pro-choice, 56 to 41, and Gen Z ain't having none of that. Incredibly pro-choice, 64 to 29. And I believe those are some of the polls from Gallup that the Republicans are looking for that are portending for them in 2024 an electoral bloodbath, because again, the dog finally caught the car. They've been chasing abortion for 50 years, and now that they finally managed to ban it, they don't like how people are reacting to it. Now, the fact is that most people support some sort of abortion. When asked if you support abortion under any circumstance, a full third of the nation, 34% of the American people, support abortion under any circumstance. Another 51%, majority, support it under certain circumstances, which usually refers to in the cases of incest or the cases of rape or a case where the fetus would be deformed or the baby wouldn't have a good chance of life or the mother's health is at risk. That's 51%. When you add that all together, that gives you 85% of the American people who don't want a complete 100% total blanket ban on abortion, like many of these Republicans are pushing. With Gen Z, it's 89% who support abortion in some form or another, and 48% for any purpose whatsoever. We get a little older, the millennials, still 87% support for any sort of abortion. X's and boomers, 83% support for some form of abortion rights. So the GOP can see the writing on the wall that this issue is a disaster for them. And if they continue to be seen as the guys that want to force the birth of rapists' babies and the birth of incest babies and the birth of babies that kill their mom, they know they're going to lose. And that's because abortion is becoming a motivating factor in people's voting habits. For the first time this century, we see that pro-choice has a lead over pro-life when it comes to their motivating factor for voting for a candidate. 17% of pro-choice, 17% of voters are pro-choice and will only vote for a pro-choice candidate, compared to 10% who are pro-life and will only vote for a pro-life candidate. You break this down by the demographics, and it's even worse for the Republicans. There is a net pro-choice among men of 2%, a net pro-choice among women of 11%. The only demographic between men and women where you can find a net support for pro-life is men over the age of 50. Again, my demographic. What the hell is wrong with you people? But men over 50 with a -1 pro-choice support. When we break that down by racial, party, and religious preferences, we see that among all races, there is a net pro-choice vote, except among Hispanic adults, where it's dead tied. Among independents, +7 pro-choice. Among Democrats, +35 pro-choice. Republicans, +19 for pro-life. So the only people they are supporting here, the only support they're getting for their policies are among their hardcore base. They can't win over the independents, and they certainly can't win over the Democrats on this issue. But the Republicans keep talking about this as if they weren't the ones who were pushing these no exception anti-abortion laws. In the NBC story, they go on to say, interviewing with Senator Kevin Cramer, the Republican from North Dakota, said, quote, "What intrigued me most about the results was that pro-choice and pro-life means something different now, that people see being pro-life as being against all abortions at all levels." And Senator Josh Hawley, the Republican from Missouri, said, quote, "Many voters think pro-life means you're for no exceptions in favor of abortion ever, and pro-choice can now mean any number of things." So the conversation was mostly oriented around how voters think of those labels, that they've shifted. So if you're going to talk about the issue, you're going to have to be specific, Hawley said. So the senator from North Dakota and the senator from Missouri are telling us that, oh, no, pro-life doesn't mean that we want you to have your rapist baby. Pro-life doesn't mean we want you to have your incest baby. Pro-life doesn't mean we want you to die having your baby. No, why would you ever get that idea? How could you have ever think we would think such a thing? Well, maybe because when we look at the states of North Dakota and the states of Missouri, they are one of those dark crimson red states that have no exceptions for abortion and a 6-week ban. Women who don't even know they're pregnant can't have an abortion in your state, Josh Hawley, or whatever the guy from North Dakota's name was. I forgot already. But you cannot go and now claim that you're all for all these exceptions when you are from these states that are currently passing these laws without any exceptions, and you're not speaking out against it. They also spoke to Representative Todd Young from Indiana. Todd Young said the meeting was focused on pro-baby policies and whether they should use a term other than pro-life. Young said pro-baby, quote, "was just a term of my creation to demonstrate my concern for babies." Oh, yes, let's talk about that deep well of Republican concern for babies. What are those GOP pro-baby policies? Let's see. You cut WIC and SNAP benefits for the moms that are trying to feed their babies. You oppose universal child care for the moms to be able to take care of their babies. You oppose universal pre-K to educate their babies. You oppose paid maternity leave for them to care for their babies. You opposed Obamacare to be able to take care of the sickness of those babies. You oppose child tax credits to take care of the financial burden of raising those babies. And you want to weaken child labor laws so that you can put those babies to work. So I feel for my Republican friends, because it must be tough coming up with some sort of new branding for pro-life to convince voters out there that you're not all in favor of having rapist babies and incest babies and dead mamas. So with some apologies to David Letterman, I've come up with what I consider to be the top 10 new pro-life rebands that you ought to try out. Let's see. Number 10, how about birth servitude? There we go. Birth servitude. You're not pro-life, we're for birth servitude. Number 9, maternal slavery. There we go. Maternal slavery. But don't worry, it's only temporary, just 18 years or so. Number 8, pro-handmaid. That's good. It kind of has a pop culture reference there to The Handmaid's Tale. Pro-handmaid. You can get one of those nice little red robes to go with it too. How about Max? Now, I don't think that's going to be a very good reband for anybody. Max, I don't think that's going to stick. State broodmare. There we go. State broodmare. Number 6, state broodmare. Number 5 of the top 10 new pro-life rebrands. How about Parenthood Plus? Parenthood Plus. It's no, I don't think that's going to work. Number 4, top 10 pro-life rebrand, forced breeder. There we go. We're for forced breeding. Number 3, top 10 pro-life rebrand, new pregnancy. You know, like new Coke, new pregnancy. No, I don't know if that's going to be. Number 2, pro-life rebrand, slut consequences. That's really what they're talking about here. They believe that women who have sex and become pregnant must bear the consequences of their sluttery. Might be the one they go with. And the number 1 top 10 new pro-life rebrands, X. No, I don't think X is going to work for anybody. So there you go. The dog has finally caught the car. The Republicans finally got what they wanted for abortion. And thanks to that, in 2024, the rest of us will likely get what we want, a re-elected Joe Biden and a strong Democratic majority in the House and the Senate to finally enact some actual pro-mother, pro-baby policies. I'm Radical Russ, and that's the rant.